It is a mystery that's haunted many in the D.C. area for decades. 50 years ago today was the last known sighting of William Bradford Bishop. The State Department employee vanished after investigators say he killed his entire family in their Bethesda home. Our News 4i team has covered the case for more than a decade and recently talked to many impacted by the tragedy. Our Ted Oberg joins us with their thoughts on what they think happened to the fugitive. Ted?
Yeah, and there is one thing that almost everyone who's ever touched this case agrees with, and that's that William Bradford Bishop killed his entire family in 1976. But what happened next is what's confounded so many of them for 50 years. Despite thousands of tips and sightings across the world, Bishop's never been found, and now so many of them wonder if he ever will. It turns out the picture of that friendly family next door in this high-end Bethesda neighborhood hid dark secrets in 1976.
One of the most horrific crimes in Montgomery County history. 3 young children, his wife, his own mother.
And 50 years later, why police say William Bradford Bishop bludgeoned his family, burned them in a shallow North Carolina grave, and fled to the Great Smoky Mountains is one of the secrets that still hasn't been revealed.
The fact that this hasn't been resolved, it does, I think, eat at us.
The question of what happened to Bishop is still debated, maybe even obsessed over, by people who know this case the best.
I would like him to face, justice for what he did.
Time could be running out for investigators to answer that. You couldn't let this one go.
No, I couldn't, no.
Can you now?
Still no.
Steve Vogt first saw the case in the newspaper as an 11-year-old, worked the Bishop murders as an FBI special agent, still thinks about it now.
Throughout my life after that, I was just tied to the case. It never left me.
On March 1st, 1976, police say Bishop left his job at the State Department and bought a gas can, a sledgehammer, a shovel, and a pitchfork.
Every room was covered with blood.
And killed his wife, Annette, their 3 boys, Brad, Brenton, and Jeffrey, and his mother, Lobelia.
Went room by room, just with such anger and rage that it was just a terrible, terrible crime scene.
Bishop, police say, drove 6 hours to the small town of Columbia, North Carolina, where he dumped the bodies in a shallow grave before driving to the Great Smoky Mountains with his dog, Leo. There, he abandoned the family station wagon and disappeared. Vogt believes the last known sighting of Bishop was at a hotel just a few days later, and then plenty of tips and theories, but no capture for 50 years. So then why hasn't it been solved?
If you're disciplined, you stay out of trouble, you don't get fingerprinted, you create a new identity, and don't talk to anybody you ever knew before, you won't get caught, especially in 1976.
Vogt helped get Bishop added to the FBI's 10 most wanted list in 2014. Where do you think he holds up?
I think he's somewhere in, I believe, southern United States somewhere. I think that's where he went and stayed.
And lived a quiet life.
That's what I believe.
I honestly don't know. I went through a long period of time thinking, look, we never got the revolver back. He walked off into the Great Smoky Mountains and shot himself.
Brian Stafford worked the case for years as a detective for Montgomery County Police, poring over a room full of evidence.
I think he planned it for much more than that day.
Why?
Too much went right for him. I think he knew when he left that house where he was going to take those bodies and where he was going after that.
It's an unanswered question for the family of Ron Brickhouse, the forest ranger who discovered the bodies in North Carolina.
I'd like to know why he come here.
News 4 talked to him back in 2014, years before he passed away.
It's bad memories.
His family now says the connection to the Bishop case forever changed his life. He just couldn't get those images out of his head. Our interview, they tell us, was the last time he spoke of it. They're still hoping for some closure.
I wish there could be before I pass away. I was hoping that for my husband, but it didn't happen.
How close do you think you ever were?
I don't think we ever were.
How hard is that to say?
Hard because there were times when we thought we were. The body that was exhumed, that was looking good. It's the right time period.
Tips have continued to come in over the last 5 decades. Sightings around the U.S., overseas, in Italy and Switzerland, even rumors about Bishop somehow being connected to the CIA. The International Man of Mystery conspiracy is not one you subscribe to.
I personally have not held to that theory. but we may never know.
Yeah. 50 years after they got the case, Montgomery County Sheriff Max Wee still has a deputy assigned to it.
If we were to get a tip tonight, if we were to get a tip today, the deputies in our criminal section can actively look into it. Personally, he would be 89 years old if he was still alive today, and I really do not believe he's still alive.
We did everything we could, and maybe this 50th anniversary, maybe somebody someday will pick up the phone. I believe someone has seen him, and they haven't made the call.
Vogt isn't sure if Brad Bishop's alive or dead. Either way, the case is never too far from his mind. Vogt joked with a friend on New Year's Day this year his resolution was to catch Bishop.
I'd say a few months back, I was in an airport, I saw somebody that looked like him.
Do you think you ever saw him?
No, absolutely not.
Do you get the sense that sort of the sand is running out of the hourglass a little bit on the memory here?
I wouldn't say that we're past the point of getting our hopes up, because we've seen cases resolve sometimes when we think that they're not likely to.
If he dies on the run or died on the run many years ago, what's the tragedy in that?
Justice is never served. Ultimately, he's going to answer for this crime, no matter what.
Maybe it still will happen, who knows? You never give up till it's over, you know.
Well, when's it over?
When everybody that knew Brad Bishop is gone, is no longer on this earth, and nobody cares anymore. That's when it's over. I mean, for me, obviously, when I'm no longer here, it's over for me. But hey, it's just a mystery that you'd like to solve.
There are so many people who'd love to solve it. The other big question that endures is, why did he do it? Former Agent Vogt told us he thinks it was all about money. Says Bishop was broke. He'd missed a mortgage payment. Weeks before, he'd been passed over for a promotion at the State Department. And Bishop, Vogt thinks, just wanted to escape and start a new life. The FBI told us Bishop, and the case remains active, and they still receive an awful lot of tips. So if you have information that you've been holding on to, it's time to call the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. And even if you don't know where he is today, and you know where he was, it's still valuable 50 years later.
What a haunting case.
It sure is.
I know those investigators want some answers.
And so does the family, and so does everyone who's ever touched this case.
All right, our Ted Oberg, thanks so much for that report, Ted.
Thank you.